Hello Twin Flames, this is Victoria and I'm here with your daily energy check. Welcome to my channel, whether you're new, you're coming back, and I am welcoming you in Honolulu, Oahu, the state of Hawaii. This is my last night in Oahu. Tomorrow I'm gonna be going for another island, Kauai. Never been there before. I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. Have some big plans. Fingers crossed that the weather is gonna turn out fine. In the meantime, let's get on with your reading. I got this beautiful coconut leaf headband made for me by our Samoan tour guide yesterday. Had a big trip around the entire island. I mean, the island is relatively small, but still there's a lot going on, a lot to see. And yes, it took us a day with a lunch break, but it was a pretty full day. So I have a lot of impressions, and if anyone ever tells you that Oahu is just Honolulu and there isn't much to do in Honolulu, those two are like the big myths. Really, it's usually said by those who haven't been here, who haven't had a chance to experience it, either the city of Honolulu or the island of Oahu. And they have so much going on and so much to see, to experience, whether you're more into culture and history and arts and water sports, or whether you're more about nature and getting to know lifestyle of people and more of that authentic vibe. Okay, so today is going to be a classic read, apart from the fact that instead of the messages I'll do the angel therapy messages for each of the twins. I feel like that's something that we need right now. I'm hearing from many different sources that light workers are going through some energy disturbances, and I guess it is even more true if you don't have a regular practice where you are getting yourself grounded, getting yourself back on track, or you have like steady resource or source of rejuvenation, of joy and happiness, all of the above basically. So yeah, let's see what's going on. I'm excited actually myself. And by the way, I finished uploading all my horoscopes for February for each of the zodiac signs on my Mindful Bamboo channel. So check those out. Check out your sign prediction. Check out the sign of your twin flame. Or of course, you can also check the main personal planet positions, depending on what is it that you're working on right now. I actually talk about it in my workshop, and I feel like it might sound like an obvious thought, but it's very profound when you actually get into doing inner work, right? That you can't really grasp everything all at once, and you shouldn't be doing that anyway. But it's important to set your priorities, just like with approaching it as a I don't know, maybe establishing your own business, right? Or building a house or whatever, right? Like it's a project. It's just that for this, maybe a program, right? Because it's definitely a big one. You don't have to figure it all out. Up front, it's gonna take time, most likely, many years. And it's like you have that structure in your mind, right? And you can start building on it. And of course, as with everything, you prioritize, right? Have your scope of work and you prioritize what you want to go with first. What is critical to you? What is critical to you, like to build something that you don't have in place right now in your life? Or what is critical to maybe improve or fix because you feel like you're always hitting the same wall, right? And whatever that area of life is, that's where you start. And that's where you start astrologically, right? And that's what you can then put effort in when doing your inner work. So it doesn't seem overwhelming, or it doesn't seem like you have just like it's never gonna be, well, it is never gonna be over. You're never gonna succeed with it, right? Like you know what I mean? Not like in terms of like, oh yeah, there's always some healing to do and some growing up to do, but more like, oh, I'm never gonna get it. I'm always gonna be a train wreck. No, we don't want that. That's like the opposite of the whole purpose of it. Even when the universe or the higher power is showing you something that you still need to work on. It's only to encourage you and to show you a little bit of a direction, that's all. Okay, let's see what we have for Divine Feminine first of all. Come on. Hopefully none of the cards will get lost in the couch. Yeah, I just remembered my adventures yesterday. It was funny and sad at the same time, especially because I was finishing my reads like after midnight. And yeah, here I'm trying to follow New York timing as much as possible. It's not exact, but it's pretty close. So after midnight Hawaiian time is like, it's 5 a.m. New York time. So you can imagine I was like completely like out of it, like barely hanging in there and focusing on what I'm supposed to be doing with the reading. And then those cards keep falling through over here, and I had to do some tricks to get them out. Oh my god. So yeah, I better not risk it like that, because I have some self-care plans and some luggage to pack. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. For Divine Feminines, we have Wise Leader. I had exactly this card in mind. You are a beacon for others. Divine Feminines, remember that wherever anyone is trying to rain on your parade, to bring you down, or you want to get upset and heartbroken over your DM, remember that you are a wise leader and you're a beacon of hope for others. To me, those are not necessarily the same things. Beacon for others to me is a much wider term. But isn't it rewarding to hear that? Isn't it inspiring to know that, you know, you can already spread the kindness and the love in the world just by being who you are, being more of who you are. By showing up in a room, you can light it up. You know, like they say, she lights up the room, right? Like this is you when you are in your grounded, balanced self, right? And you don't need to do anything special, externally or internally. That's how your energy works already. Remember that. Well, of course, it can be equally negative if you are in a disintegrated state. What do we have for Divine Masculines? Begin now. Take your first step. Yes, I was talking about it for a few days with all the planets being direct. We are kind of like being poked by the universe and asked to take that step, to be brave. You know, it's like getting this picture of a diver who's like, you know, on a plank that's a little scared to, not a professional diver, but somebody who's doing it for the first time or the second or the third, and they're afraid to jump off, and you know, somebody behind them is like, oh, come on, come on. Even if it's not like a serious sport, but maybe like in a water park or something, right? It can still happen. So that's what I'm getting for Divine Masculine. That's fine. Okay, I've got the Dreaming White Tarot with me. Haven't used it for a few days. I'm trying to kind of make it a little bit more versatile. And I actually did some studying of my new crystal deck that I mentioned yesterday that I bought on my tour where I got this. And it's more of a glossary. It's an awesome glossary, and I love like flashcards. I like information on cards. It's beautiful, it's color coded, so you can like kind of like visually get the idea of what stones that it might be talking about based on the color of the card. But it's not exactly an oracle deck, but it can still be used in readings, and I'll think about incorporating it. It's more like if you have a specific question, or like if the structure of a reading is going to be about some, for example, some challenges, right, that the twins are facing, and then we can pull one of the cards to see what kind of stones could be beneficial for the situation at hand. And if you are into crystals, this will be super helpful if you have like a decent collection of them, right? And at least the color will actually inform you pretty well what you should be looking for. So if you are seeing something green, you don't have a specific, I don't know, you don't have malachite, right? But you have jade, which is not exactly the same color, but it's still green. It will still work for you, right? The intention is what matters. And a lot of crystals are being interpreted for their powers based on color anyway. There are some that are more or less universal, especially when it comes to chakra work. but like jaspers, for example. But majority of them is still directly associated, like color to color, with the corresponding chakras. Okay, let's see what's going on with divine feminines first of all. What do we need to know about the energy of divine feminine at this time? If you like the reading, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you want to follow my Hawaiian adventures, following me on Instagram is the easiest way. I did add that link on the website. I even added one for Spotify for my podcast, because people keep forgetting that I actually have recorded quite a lot of podcasts last spring with the business radio station, and it was about mindfulness and wellness, different topics. Of course, the topics and the agenda all there. Me and my assistant, we worked hard on making sure that we can actually get it on Spotify. Don't ask. But it's there. So there is a link to Spotify, to my playlist with podcasts, and there is a link to Instagram. And the same goes for newsletter. If you're signed up to my newsletters, then at the bottom you'll have an Instagram icon with the link to my account. It's my personal account. It's not a Mindful Bamboo, but so it's kind of like just stuff that's happening to me in my life, right? But since right now I'm in Hawaii, then obviously the big majority of the content that I'm posting is going to be about Hawaii. So it makes sense for you to follow me, at least for this period of time, if this is what you're wondering about. You can always ask me questions about lifestyle, daily routines, beliefs, language, whatever you feel like asking about. Because it's been pretty groundbreaking for me on many different levels, and I'll be posting some articles on that, so I'm not gonna take more time of this reading on it. So we have the Empress. Look at that, the ultimate divine feminine card. Please clarify. Isn't that the complementary message to that wise leader and being the beacon to others? The Empress is the beacon to others. We have 4 wands in reverse. So it's not really the time to focus on union and what works and what doesn't work. It's the time to focus on being the Empress self. And I know the Empress is most of the time shown as a pregnant woman, which kind of hints at somebody being in her life, you know, that she got pregnant from. But if you do have someone, perfect. But this is more like, if you don't take it as a negative message from the universe. And you know, you could be at a different point in your journey where you may be specifically looking to connect with your DM, or even with a soulmate, right? A high level soulmate. And you know, if you don't have that other person, it's also for a reason. And I know it's hard to accept it, especially if your brain is still kind of racing and telling you that you're supposed to have someone. If your friends and families are like, oh, it's such a shame you're single, you're by yourself, right? Like, I get it. And you know, I'm on the street by myself, for example. I get asked about, you know, where I am in terms of my status almost on a daily basis by different people. They see me by myself here and there, they start asking for different reasons, yes. But still, I had it asked even before I recorded this reading. I was in one of the hallway spaces in my hotel, and they had like a Hawaiian luau reception with the dancing and music. And so I stopped by for, you know, for a break and to listen to the beautiful music. And of course, somebody started a conversation with me, and that's where we went. And it goes into different kind of ways, like the direction of the conversation is different, but I still get asked about that, right? And it's a very common theme to say, well, it's such a shame that you're not with someone, or like the longer you are by yourself, the harder it's gonna be to learn to be in a relationship, or like it's gonna be harder than to be with someone, you know, because you're so used to being on your own. Like, I've heard so much nonsense even in the last months, but it doesn't mean that you have to follow that mindset, right? That's the whole point. We're here as twin flames to break those templates of love, of relationships, of what we have to do in this lifetime on this planet, right? What we owe somebody. We don't owe anybody anything. We owe ourselves to be happy, what it means for us. And if it means taking vacation by yourself, so be it. If it means taking a year after your last relationship to get, to take care of yourself, to reinvent yourself, to do something exciting, so be it. Who cares, right? But it's important that you are okay with it, that you know what you're doing and why, right? And that's when you're not gonna care about those comments anymore, even if they are negative or pitiful or whatever. They go against what you are trying to do, why you do what you do. Okay, so don't focus on, and this is the 4 of Wands is union, of course, but it can be about other commitments. So it's not about worrying too much about important commitments in your life, relationships or otherwise. It's time to focus on your Empress self. Whatever you need as an Empress. This is a collective reading, so of course I cannot cover all of the cases. And as I was mentioned in the beginning of the reading, I do hear here and there that light workers are going through a lot right now. Just with how the vibration is going in the collective, and the energies are changing, the shifts are happening. And it's not easy, right? A lot of, depending where you are in the world, there can be additional factors just happening with the politics, the economy, the weather, whatsoever, right? Different kinds of shocking experiences that add to the overwhelm. But that's another part of it, right? That you are the beacon for others in hard times, even more than in others. But you can't really give much unless you are in the Empress energy yourself, that you replenish your own energy, that you give yourself what you need to be happy, to be joyful, to be content, to be fulfilled. And yes, it's very hard to do in times of uncertainty and drama. And for me, for example, Ukraine is such a story. It's not the only one, but it's a big one, right? And I hear news stories about some horrible events and casualties and all kinds of stuff on the daily basis. And it's hard at times to kind of overcome that and still keep going with your day and be that beacon, right? And keep creating as an Empress does. But that's that learning curve, and with time it gets easier. But like I keep saying, it's important for you to have those practices, those rituals, those ways to get yourself back into balance. Crystals, why I'm talking a lot about it, is one of the ways. It's not the ultimate way, but it's one of those. Meditation or prayer, big one, big time. Physical fitness and wellness, big time, right? There are these things that, regardless of what you believe in, what your cultural background is still going to be useful, it's still going to work, right? But it takes certain stamina, it takes certain willpower to stick to it, and it's very important to be consistent. So it becomes that core of you. It's not like an occasional, oh yeah, I'll do something for myself today, right? That you have that structure, that becomes a skeleton that you can rely on. It's the same way I would rely on our spine in our body, right? To provide that core mechanism for movement. And it's there no matter what, and we can rely on it, Okay, let's see what's going on with Divine Masculines. It's getting pretty long, so I'm gonna try to be brief. What do we need to know about Divine Masculine energy right now? Ooh, okay. King of Wands in reverse and Knight of Swords. Yeah, so guess what? DMs are not feeling their confident self either, right? They may even be, decreased sexual drive, maybe lack of desire or performance, and it's general apathy. That's what I'm getting here. On the other hand, DMs know that they are supposed to act, even if they don't know it consciously, subconsciously they are being driven, like I was saying, like that's the time, right? And that's the card we had, begin now. So they're trying to do their best to at least check the box that they're taking steps, right, to make themselves feel better, if anything, right? I'm not saying it from in a bad way. It's like they're doing the best they can in the situation, because they don't feel inspired, they don't feel like they know what they're doing, right? But they know they need to do something. And there is that, yeah, there is that feeling of overwhelming confusion about it. That's what I'm sensing here. Okay, I'm not gonna do the connection today because I can clearly see that the twins are working, you know, on their own things right now. But I do understand now why I need the angel therapy deck. So let's get a card of support for divine feminines first of all. Singing and dancing, look at that. Express yourself and awaken your psychic senses through the magical power of music and movement. I love it. I was just talking about physical wellness. Yep. For me, as you can guess, that would be dancing. And singing actually as well. Singing helps in so many different ways to open up the visceral cylinders and to calm myself down is not really it's not going to describe it in full of what it does. But whenever I am off balance, I realize through experience, through practice, through just randomly sometimes singing when I'm feeling low or I'm feeling nervous about what's going to happen next, like say a dance competition. And it helps so much. Or even if I'm in a lesson with my DM and he's driving me crazy, which happens, and I can feel that my anxiety level is raising, but I can't really, for different reasons, I can't really just give in to that feeling, and I don't want to. So singing actually helps a lot. And he is by now he's not surprised, yeah, Viktoriia can start singing randomly. I can be singing to the song that we're dancing to, or I can be singing something completely different. But I know that it helps. I mean, I enjoy it very much, sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I guess that's the important part, right? And then, yes, I can see this sequence of events happened in my life on enough occasions for me to understand that there is a clear connection. And now I can use it consciously when I need it. And yes, I used it over the weekend when I was getting ready for my performance. A card of support for divine masculines. And they talk about movement in this card, so it doesn't have to be dancing specifically. If you are doing sports, if you're doing yoga, if you love walking, any of those things would still count into this category. It's more about moving your body, about that dynamic that will help you. For masculines, we have Archangel Michael. Look at that. This is the archangel in charge of twin flames. You're working very closely with this powerful archangel who is protecting and guiding you through this situation. So basically, the masculines have a message that you are being guided and protected by Archangel Michael. And so this is supposed to be a reassuring message. And also you can ask for some additional guidance, help, and support. For those DMs who, as I mentioned in my reading, are trying to do something but they're not really sure what they're doing, this is it. Archangel Michael is the one who can help you with figuring out next steps. Just ask the question or ask for help. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I love you all, and I'll be back with more readings very soon. I'll do my best to organize myself quickly in Kauai tomorrow. I don't really have an idea. I don't have an idea of what my place is going to be like and how I'm gonna be doing readings, but I will do my best to figure something out and to keep doing these readings on a daily basis. Love you guys.